All right, so quiz number 7 review. We're going to do 2 graphing problems. We're going to do a couple other little things here and there just to kind of get us going, okay? Yeah. So let me show you 2 graphing problems. Okay, and I'm going to do 2 like kind of challenging ones. They're not going to be super easy ones. They won't be really difficult either, but that way at least you practice something that's a little bit more on the challenging side. So number 1, these are all going to be graphing problems, okay? First one is going to be y equal to absolute value of x minus 2, let's say plus 1. All right, so let me create a graph here. I think 3 by 3 should be good enough for that. 1, 2, 3. 3 up, 3 down, 3 left, 3 right. Okay, and I just have to graph it. Now, remember, the thing in yellow that I'm about to show you, this is called our H value, okay? The thing in blue is our K value. The thing in green, which you don't see, that's my amplitude, okay? So those 3 pieces are important. I'm supposed to start at what? Anybody remember where I'm supposed to begin? At the origin, at 0, 0, right? Start at 0, 0. And then I have to move left or right. That's my H value, the yellow thing. It says minus 2. Which direction should I go, left or right? To the right. Okay, remember, you got to memorize this. You have no notes tomorrow. You better know it. You got to move right. From 0, 0, I'm going to move right 2 times. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, so I'm moving right 2 times. And then the plus 1, that tells me to go up or down? Up 1 time, right? So I'm going to go up once. So here's my point. Okay, that's my point right there. So I'm going to get rid of the little arrows that I drew. Okay, now, since this is an absolute value, what does my graph look like? What's the shape of it? I see right there. So it looks like a V, right? It looks like a V. But what's my slope, my amplitude? My A value, isn't it 1 over 1? The thing in green, if you don't see it, there's a 1 there, right? So that means from that red dot, I just got to go up 1 over 1 in both directions. So up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So let me do that. I'm going to go up 1 over 1 this way, up 1 over 1 the other way. And remember, all you need is 3 dots. So there's 3 of them. And I'm done. That's my graph. Okay? All you need to know is your H, your K, and your A. In that order. Left and right, up and down, and then amplitude. Your amplitude tells you whether or not your slope is just 1 over 1, or maybe it's 2 over 1, or maybe it's 1 over 2, stuff like that. Okay, any questions on this one? Because we're going to do 2 of these. Is anybody confused on why I moved a certain way or anything like that? Again, memorize the H, the K, the A. What do they mean? How do you use them? Okay, because if you don't have that in here, you're not going to be able to graph stuff. Okay, so make sure you know it. All right, let's try one more of these graphing things. Let's say y is equal to 1/2. We'll make it negative 1/2 x plus 1 minus 1. Now remember, I'm going to highlight these things, okay? My H value, I'm going to highlight it yellow. My K value, I'm going to highlight it blue. And my A value, I'm going to highlight it in green, okay? Again, those are the 3 main things I need to know. If I know those 3 things, I can graph anything, all right? I know this graph looks like a V because it's an absolute value. So let me make a real quick graph here. 3 by 3 will be just fine. Doesn't have to be anything really big here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're supposed to start at 0, 0. Which direction do I move, left or right? Which one? Look at my h value. It says plus 1. Which direction do I go? Left one time, right? So from 0, 0, I'm going to go left one time. Okay, and then from that point, am I going to go up or down? Down one time, right? So down one time. Here is my point, right there. Okay, so that's where my point is. So left once, down once. Now, notice how A is negative. So it doesn't open up, it opens down, right? It opens down. And what's my slope? Or my amplitude? There's negative half. That means down 1 over 2. So look, down 1 over 2 is right here. And down 1 over 2 is right here from the red dot. So now I'm just going to connect the dots. And there you go. It's opening downwards. And I connected those 2 extra dots. Okay? So you guys have 4 problems like this on your your quiz. Okay, there's one that's really easy, which I didn't do. And there's one that's a little bit harder, which I didn't do. But these 2 that I've shown you, if you can do these, you can do anything on the quiz. Okay? Any questions on this? All right, now they're going to give you 2 questions like the following. Number 3. Write the equation. And they're going to describe it for you. Okay? So I'm going to give you a description. Opens down. Shifts 3 units left. Shifts 2 units up. A is negative 2. Your job is just to write the equation. Now remember, there is a general equation, right? Y equals A, absolute value of x minus h plus k. That's what you're going to start with. So again, another thing you got to memorize, right? You got to remember this. I know so many people would do so much better on the quizzes if I let you use notes, but guys, we have to get back to memorizing, right? You have to know these things. When it's in your head, the math goes faster. You do it quicker because you just recall. When you're having to search through notes all the time, your homework takes forever, right? So it's good for you guys to kind of get that in your head. So here we go. Y equal to A, absolute value, x minus h plus k. What do I write for A? Negative 2. So I'm going to put minus 2. Absolute value, x. Now, what do I write for h? It says 3 to the left. Plus 3. Thank you. So plus 3. And then, what about k? It says 2 units up. Plus 2. Thank you. So that's plus 2. And I'm done. I have that right. You're going to have 2 problems like that. It should be easy if you remember the definition. If you don't, you got a 50-50 chance of guessing it right? Because it's either plus or minus. So, I mean, you could guess it, right? But since it's 3 different things, that's half times. So you get a 1/8 chance, so 12.5% chance of getting it right. So, it's up to you if you want to risk it, right? But yeah, go over those definitions. So again, that's your whole front page of your quiz. That's what it looks like. Notice 4 graphs and 2 description problems on the bottom. Okay? That's the bottom of your quiz. Okay? Or the front page. Now, the back page has the problems where you plug stuff in. So function notation. So I'm just going to put evaluate as the main instruction. And here's number 4. if f of x is negative 3x plus 2, find f of 4. You're going to have two problems like this. Okay? They're going to give you an equation, and all you got to do is plug in a number. Okay? And I think I've talked to a lot of you guys in this class, in second period, in sixth, and in seventh. The number one reason why people are messing up on the tests, you guys are plugging in stuff wrong. Okay? Like you're not plugging it in and working it out properly. That if you guys could do that, most of you guys would have B's and C's and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of plug-in issues. So just be careful with that. So we're going to plug in a 4, okay? F of 4 is negative 3 times 4 plus 2. Notice I plugged in the 4 where the x is, right? From there, it's just calculator or by hand, however you want to do it. But negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. And you're done. These problems aren't meant to be like the backbreakers of the test. They're supposed to be nice and easy. And they're like gimmies, right? They're like, these are gimme problems. You're just going to give them a problem and just have them plug in a number and work it out. They shouldn't get it wrong. And that's the truth. You guys shouldn't get these ones wrong. These are gimmies. Okay? The ones that might trick you are the ones where they make you plug in like an expression. So we're going to do one of those. So again, you have two of these. So I'm just going to do one example of those. Are we okay with this one? Just plug in the number and work it out. Okay, take your time. No rush. All right, number 5. If I give you f of n and it's equal to, let's say, 2n plus 5. And I want you to find f of a minus 3. F of a minus 3. That's what I want you to find. Not plugging in a number, but plugging in an expression. Just because it's an expression doesn't make it different from just plugging in a number. I'm still going to plug in the a minus 3 where that 2n is. I'm going to plug it in where the n is right there. Okay? Just like I would have any other number. All right? So f of n equal to 2n plus 5. Find f of a minus 3. So here we go. F of a minus 3 is equal to. So it says 2n. I'm going to write 2a minus 3 plus 5. So instead of n, I just put a minus 3. All you have to do now is distribute and solve. Okay? So let's distribute. 2 times a, that's 2a. 2 times negative 3, that's negative 6. And I still have that plus 5. Okay? If you want to see the arrows, there you go. And then just combine. Negative 6 plus 5 gives me what? What's negative 6 plus 5? Negative 1. And I'm done. That's it. That's all I got to do. Again, these problems, you got two of them, are put in there not to make you fail, right? They're supposed to be straightforward. They're not supposed to be tricky. We're not putting in weird, x squareds and all. No, it's very basic and straightforward. We check for understanding on our quizzes, guys. Our quizzes aren't meant to fail you guys. We're giving you pretty much the middle of the road problems, not too easy, not too hard. Because as teachers, we just want to make sure that you guys are understanding what we're doing. If a problem gets harder, sure, you might struggle. But if I just give you a middle of the road problem that you should be able to do, given you understand the topic, then you should be able to perform well, right? We don't give you weird problems. Like I told you guys before, all of your quizzes come from your homework. Now, they're not the same questions, well, except for that one time where most of them were, right? But that's just because I was checking to see who was doing their homework, right? But they're so similar that it pretty much is the same thing, okay? So that's why when people say, I don't know what to study, I'm like, study your homework. That's where it comes from, stuff like that, okay? So those are the top 4 problems. The bottom 6 problems, the last 6 problems, are the ones that we learned yesterday. Okay? the function operations, the adding, the subtracting, the multiplying. Okay? So this is going to be function operations. Function operations. So this is when you get the f plus g of x, and the f minus g of x, and the f times g of x, right? And then you have to rewrite them as f of x plus g of x, or f of x minus g of x, f of x times g of x. It's just rewriting, and then from there just combine stuff. So I'll show you 3 examples if I can. I don't know if I can. I might be able just to do 2. Let me do the 2 tougher ones, a subtraction and a multiplication. If I have time, I'll do an addition, but I almost doubt I'm going to have it. So this would be number 6. Okay, so here's a subtraction. We're going to say h of x is equal to 2x minus 3, and g of x will be, well, let's try 3x cubed minus x right here. Okay, and I'm going to find g minus h of x. I want to find g minus h of x. Again, this is actually a pretty tough problem compared to all the other ones. Okay, I was looking at the rest of the problems. I gave you one that's kind of like on the harder side. Okay? So according to definition, I should rewrite this as g of x minus h of x. Okay? So let me plug in g of x. G of x is 3x cubed minus x. And remember, I like to put in a parenthesis just for now. And then minus, and now let me put another parenthesis here. H of x is 2x minus 3. Now remember how I told you guys that if you're subtracting, it's tricky. Okay, you got to distribute this negative. Okay, that negative has to distribute in. So this becomes 3x cubed minus x minus 2x plus 3. After I distribute that negative, the signs change. Now you guys see those 2 like terms right in the middle? Negative x minus 2x. What does that become? Say it louder. What is negative x minus 2x? Negative 3x. So that's going to be 3x cubed minus 3x plus 3, and you're done. So I got 7 minutes. I can do one more for sure. Now I got 6 minutes. It just changed. So I'll do a multiplication one. But this one will have a number to plug in just so you guys can see it. Okay? So you're going to have 1, 2, 3 of the type where you just do it like this with just x's or y's or whatever letters. They're just going to give you letters. You just simplify. They're going to give you 3 where you have to plug in a number. So I'm going to give you one of those and then we'll be done. So here we go. Last one, number 7. We're looking for multiplication. So let's do f of x equal to x minus 3 and g of x equal to 2x cubed. And I want to find g times f of, let's say, 2. Or what the heck, let's make it negative 2, right? Let's make it a little bit more difficult. Of a negative 2. Again, you guys have calculators, so the negative shouldn't scare you, right? When I was in college, I did my whole math degree. That involved my pre-calc, my trig, my calculus, my advanced calculus, my discrete mathematics, my logistics, everything that I did. No calculators. They didn't allow us to touch them. So all the fractions, decimals, everything, I had to do by hand. So yeah, negative scared me. So did fractions because I knew I had to do it by hand, right? But if I could use a calculator, I would have felt a lot more comfortable. But, I mean, they didn't let us. So remember what I told you here. Don't multiply your functions first. I know that's what it says. You're supposed to get g of negative 2, and then multiply it times f of negative 2. But don't multiply the functions first. Plug in your numbers first. So let's find g of negative 2. So if I plug in g of negative 2, that's 2 to the negative, 2 times negative 2 to the third. Now again, you're going to use your calculator. But negative 2 to the third is negative 8. And what's 2 times negative 8? Negative 16. All right, so we know what g of negative 2 is. It's negative 16. So I'm going to put that right here. And let's figure out what f of negative 2 is. F of negative 2 is negative 2 minus 3. I'm plugging it into the f of x function, x minus 3. What's negative 2 minus 3? Remember, they have the same signs. You sum, but keep the signs. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Make it negative, so negative 5. All right. So I have negative 16 times negative 5. So 16 times 5 is, it's a 0, it's 3, that's 5, 8. So it's 80. And it's going to be positive. So that's going to be positive 80. And you have 3 of these types of questions. Either you're going to add, subtract, or multiply and plug in numbers.